All right, NFL DFS fans, buckle up. We've got another great week of football for you, and I'm ready to get started and dive into this thing. This is the Lineup Show. I am your host. I appreciate you watching, and I'm going to start with these quarterbacks. There's about a billion of them that have good matchups. And there's really some cheap options that I like a lot. Actually, Thursday night, I will say, did not go like I had planned to the fullest. The defense did win that game. The strong defense won that game, which is actually what I thought was going to happen. I don't know if I thought that early on, but I think right up before game time, I was really thinking, the Texans defense can really take care of business, and they actually did. I didn't realize until the beginning of that game how well they've performed against Josh Allen in the past, but I guess that's something to make note of. But that's kind of sidetracking a little bit. Let's get back to the Sunday main slate. We've got Drake May, the highest salaried quarterback this week, because he's playing the Bengals, who are 31st against the quarterback and 31st against the pass and 32nd against the rush, which he is not afraid to run the football either. He's averaging 20.9 fantasy points a game, and dare I call him a kid, guys? I'm about, well, I won't tell you how old I am, but he seems like a kid to me, and that's kind of crazy, but he's got a lot going for him right now. He's got a lot going for him. Looking very good this season, and I think he's going to have a good career. I wonder if he'll spend it all in New England, but nevertheless, I'm getting sidetracked again. We got Patrick Mahomes averaging 22.9 fantasy points a game, playing the Colts this week, who are 16th against the quarterback, 25th against the pass. And after losing to my Broncos last week, this guy is wanting a win probably pretty bad. Just to even try to keep up with the Broncos. He's going to want to win, so it wouldn't surprise me if he played lights out football this week against the Colts. But guys, the Colts have been very decent this year. Moving on, we got Lamar Jackson. I don't love his matchup, but it's not terrible. The Jets are 22nd against the quarterback, 12th against the pass. I think he could play good football this week. I don't know that I expect him to do great, but I think he'll do good. Jalen Hurts, best matchup on paper this week against the Cowboys, who are 32nd in the league against the quarterback. That's the last in the league. If you don't know how many teams are in the NFL, that's it. There are 32 teams, and they are the worst against the quarterback. 30th against the pass, and he's averaging 20.6 fantasy points a game, has almost 2,000 passing yards, 16 touchdowns. This should be a great game for him. Last time they played each other at Philadelphia, he got 24.3 fantasy points. I would expect him to do, honestly, probably similar, even playing in Dallas. They're just that bad against the receiver, and I'm sure they've got some injuries and stuff working against them now that it's this late in the season, or midway through, I guess. Little over midway. We got Dak Prescott here, who I don't like. When they played each other before, he only got 7.8 fantasy points. Eagles are 10th against the quarterback. They are 15th against the pass. Just don't like that spot. Daniel Jones just playing phenomenal football this year. 20.9 fantasy points a game on average. Chiefs are 12th against the quarterback, however, and 11th against the pass. I don't know that I expect him to pass a lot. I think they're going to run the football a lot. Although I didn't love the matchup for that either, but their running back is just phenomenal. So, Jared Goff also has a fantastic matchup this week. New York's 29th against the quarterback, 22nd against the pass. And Jared Goff is averaging 18.6 fantasy points a game. I expect him to do well here as well. But there's still cheaper options that I like even more. Jordan Love, I don't care for his matchup here. Caleb Williams, I do like his matchup. They are 25th, the Steelers, against the quarterback, and 32nd against the pass. I think Caleb Williams, who's playing great football this year as well, averaging 19.7 fantasy points a game, I think he will have a great week. Don't like Joe Flacco this week against New England. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So I'm not even going to mention. You probably saw it on the screen. Sam Darnold, I didn't care for his matchup. I don't believe it's okay. It's not great. The quarterback that I might like the most this week, guys, and I know some of you are probably like, what? Are you kidding? Jacoby Brissett. Now, I get it. They haven't been winning many football games with him under the helm, but I don't know that that is all his fault, because if you look at his fantasy points, are you kidding me? He got 26.9 last week. He had 21.4 in week 10, 24.8 in week 9, 20.7 in week 7, 24.7 in week 6, and he's averaging 17 fantasy points a game. I think the only reason, just looking at this mathematically, would be because of the 2 games he had prior to being the starter, I believe, of the Cardinals. But as a starter, he has not had a game under 20 fantasy points, if I'm not mistaken, unless he started one of those 2 games or both of them. I don't believe he did. I believe Kyler Murray played probably in both of those. He's playing outstanding football, and his matchup this week is great. The Jaguars are 27th against the quarterback, 26th against the pass, and they're actually pretty stinking solid against the run. So I think that they're going to have to pass a lot, and I think Jacoby Brissett has a lot of talent. He's a veteran. I'm not saying he's like a star quarterback in the league, but he knows enough about football, and I think he's a talented player. I think he's going to do great this week, and I think he's going to be my quarterback because he's cheap and set up in a perfect game environment. Let's see. We got Aaron Rodgers as well. I think could have a good game if he plays. His wrist is still a problem. He was limited at practice Friday. He will be listed as questionable, so you're going to have to check somewhere and see if he plays. But I think he's got a great matchup against the Bears, who are 30th against the quarterback, 23rd against the pass. And let's keep in mind who this is. This is Aaron Rodgers, a guy who's very familiar with Chicago, and just quite frankly, he is dominated against Chicago in the past, more often than not, if I'm not mistaken. Moving on, I don't really like Trevor Lawrence here. Don't think I like McCarthy here. Michael Penix Jr. is out, which would lead me to believe that Kirk Cousins is the guy. But I don't know that for a fact. Let's see. Cousins will take over as their starting quarterback. Yep. So he is the guy. I've always kind of liked Kirk Cousins. I know people might not like that either, but I have. But I don't like the matchup. Let's see. Cam Ward in Seattle? I don't care for it. He doesn't average much anyways. Jackson Dart is out, so my assumption is that it's going to be Jameis Winston. All right, let's see. Yeah, it looks like Jackson Dart is still in the concussion protocol. I believe that would make Winston the quarterback for the Giants. And the Lions are 21st against the quarterback, but they're pretty solid against the pass, so I don't think I'd want to play him anyways. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, you do have Mason Rudolph, who potentially could do something. Justin Fields is no longer the starter for the Jets. It is now Tyrod Taylor, who has an okay matchup against Baltimore, but I don't think I want to play him here. Also, we have got young Prime still in his prime, right? Prime Junior here. We got Sanders sitting here as the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in Week 12. Playing the Raiders, who are 18th against the quarterback, 19th against the pass. I think, I don't know what I think he could do decent here. I think he can do okay, but I'm not going to play him. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to go ahead and throw Jacoby Brissett in as my quarterback, and we can go ahead and take a look at these running backs. So starting off, we have Jonathan Taylor, who I had already mentioned without mentioning his name, that I think they're going to probably run a lot, even though he's got a bad match. It's not the worst matchup, but it's not a good one. But here's the thing. Jonathan Taylor is averaging 28.9 fantasy points a game, and that is with the Week 9 dud that he got 7.7 fantasy points against Pittsburgh. I don't know if Pittsburgh completely shut him down, if there was an injury involved or what. He did not play well in that game. But the game before that, he had 40.4 fantasy points. And in Week 10, he had 52.6 fantasy points. That is nuts. Your running back is doing pretty good, pretty decent if he gets 26 fantasy points in a game. Jonathan Taylor doubled that last week. He doubled it. 52.6. That is nuts. That is bonkers. And there's been plenty of games. He had 4 games. Let's see. 4 games in the 30s. This guy is just dominating the football field. It doesn't seem to matter what his matchup is, who he's playing. I would never blame you for playing him. He is expensive, but he's worth it. I'm not going to play him this week because I don't want to pay that high at running back, but I would think he's worth. I can't say he's not worth it. Look what he did last week. And somehow that went under the radar for me. I did know that Bijan Robinson had 33.3 fantasy points last week, which I'm not going to lie is kind of disappointing because I played him, I believe, in Week 8 where he got the 6.8 fantasy points, and I might have played him in like Week 10 or so. I feel like I might have played him another one where it was a dud, but maybe it was just Week 8. I'll get over it. Don't worry. But yeah. Bijan Robinson had a great game last week. 33.3 fantasy points. His matchup this week, the Saints are 18th against the running back and 21st against the rush. So I think he could have a decent game too. I don't know what to think of him anymore. I feel like he's boom or bust. He can either go really big, but he can also just totally just bust. With that said, I do really like Jahmyr Gibbs here. Jahmyr Gibbs playing the Giants, who are 31st against the running back, 31st against the rush, and they are also missing their starting quarterback, which should help the Lions. And the Lions, I would think, are gonna be able to handle this game and have to run the ball a lot to run the clock out. Just to be honest with you, so. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a great play this week. Probably one of my favorites. Josh Jacobs is questionable with the knee injury. So if you want to play him, make sure somewhere that he's starting. But I don't think that I want to play him here. The Vikings are 12th against the running back, 22nd against the rush. I don't love it. Derrick Henry had a pretty good week last week, 23.2 fantasy points. He's only averaging 15.1 a game, though. They're playing the Jets, who are 19th against the running back, 23rd against the rush. I don't really love that either. I do really like the matchup for Saquon Barkley. They're playing Dallas. In week 1, he had 18.4 fantasy points against them. And they're 29th against the running back, and they are 24th against the rush. With that said, he is only averaging 15.4 fantasy points a game. And that week 1 game was good, but it wasn't great. And honestly, he hasn't had a great game this year except for week 8 against New York. That's the only game he has had above 20 fantasy points that I can see here. So I love the matchup. I don't know that I would play him. I don't, because I feel like they like to pass. I really like TreVeyon Henderson here. He's probably my top play of the week. Back-to-back weeks over 30. He had 31 in week 10, 32.3 in week 11. Fantasy points. And the Bengals are 32nd against the running back, 32nd against the rush. The best matchup on paper this week for a running back. And the only thing I would say is Ramondre Stevenson is questionable. So he's not ruled out of this game. It says he practiced fully on Friday. So he might even play in this game. I don't know. But even if he does, how much work is he going to get coming back off injury compared to TreVeyon Henderson, who's actually been playing really good football? I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of it, but I really do like TreVeyon Henderson here. Jaylen Warren doesn't have a terrible matchup. The Bears are 16th against the running back, 25th against the rush, but he only averages 13.5 a game. Honestly, I played him, I believe, last week, and it was kind of a letdown with 8.7 fantasy points. But it is what it is, you know. I don't like Javonte Williams here. I'm not even going to look at the matchup. I'm going to try to speed this along. I don't really like any of these next few matchups. Travis Etienne Jr., I do like the matchup. He's only averaging 14.9 fantasy points a game. However, the Cardinals are 23rd against the running back, 16th against the pass. He did get 19.3 fantasy points last week against Jacksonville. He plays for Jacksonville against Los Angeles Chargers. He got 19 attempts in that game. He also got 2 targets in which he didn't catch either of them. His backup, if you need somebody cheap that could potentially get some points, is Tutton. And I think I already passed him. Where was he? No, I guess I didn't pass him. Oh, guys, I wanted to make mention of him because he has made a little bit of an impact. Oh, here he is right here. Okay. Thought for a second I wasn't going to find him. He got 13.4 fantasy points last week on 15 rush attempts. So he's done that multiple games, and he had a 9.6 point game. So if you need somebody cheap, kind of a fill-in, I would only do it if you have a bunch of studs already in your lineup and you kind of just need a cheap guy to fill in the gap. I want to do it probably otherwise. But he could be someone that you could play. Moving on, Alvin Kamara, if he plays, he's still injured. He's got the ankle injury going on. He's listed as questionable. If he plays, the Falcons are 28th against the running back, 28th against the rush. So that would be a great matchup for him. On paper, if he does not play, then it looks like a guy named Neal. Let's take a gander at him. I don't even think I've heard of him, guys. Did I pass him again? Yeah, clear at the end. Devin Neal. He'd be the guy I guess you would go with if you want to play the running back if Alvin Kamara does not play. And if that's wrong advice, then I apologize. I'm just going by what I'm seeing here on DraftKings. The other thing I was going to say, Kenneth Walker III has a fantastic matchup on paper this week. Titans are 25th against the running back, 26th against the rush. And I think he's in a great spot. If he does not play, Zach Charbonnet looks fantastic. David Montgomery is someone you could play here, kind of cheap. And then that's probably it for me as far as running backs go. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to the wide receivers, which I have not looked at all yet. We have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Do I need to say anything about him, guys? It doesn't even seem to matter what his matchup is. He just does great. Titans are 24th against the wide receiver, 18th against the pass. I think he'd be a great play. He's just kind of expensive for a receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown, great matchup against the Giants, who are 25th against the wide receiver, 22nd against the pass. He'd be a fantastic play. CeeDee Lamb, I want to see in week 1 against Philadelphia, he got 21 fantasy points. Philadelphia's 13th against the wide receiver, 15th against the pass, however. I don't know. I don't love it, but he did good in week 1 against them. For some reason, I don't love it here. Yeah. Rashee Rice, as I said before, Patrick Mahomes, he needs a win, man. The Chiefs need a win. I hope they don't get it because they're in the Broncos division. I don't want them to get it. It gets kind of old watching Kansas City, 1, win so much in general, but 2, win against my Broncos. So we finally got a win on them this year, even against their starters. I know last year we got the win, but it wasn't against their starters. So it was nice. I know a lot of people said we couldn't beat them, and we did. So, like I was a part of it. I say we. The Colts are 23rd against the wide receiver, 25th against the pass. I think Rashee Rice would be a great play here. I don't think that I would play Justin Jefferson in this one, personally. Yeah, I don't like that matchup at all. T. Higgins could see an uptick, guys. I guarantee you, actually, he'll see an uptick because Jamar Chase is still injured. And New England is number 1 against the rush. So the Bengals are going to have to throw. And I'm assuming they're going to go through T. Higgins quite a bit. New England's 18th against the wide receiver, 17th against the pass. Looks like a great opportunity for him. Just out of necessity, I feel like they're going to have to go to him. George Pickens, the guy on Thursday night, I'm pretty sure I told you guys would be a good pick, and I wanted to put him in my lineup. I think I had him in my lineup, and I took him out. I swapped him out for somebody else, and I knew almost inside that CeeDee Lamb was not going to be the guy that week. It was going to be George Pickens. CeeDee did well, or did okay too, if I remember correctly, but George Pickens was the route to go if you wanted the top producer as far as wide receivers go. He had 11 targets, 9 receptions out of those 11 targets for 32.4 fantasy points. As we said before, Philadelphia is 13th against the wide receiver, though, 15th against the pass. I don't see him having as good a week. But if you think he will, go ahead and play him. I don't think that he will. Stephon Diggs. I don't know what to think of this. I feel the Bengals are 31st against the pass, but they're 11th against the wide receiver. He only averages 13.8 fantasy points a game. Anyways, I don't think I like him here. Just looking at Olave. Olave playing the Falcons, who are 17th against the wide receiver, 6th against the pass. I don't like it. Zay Flowers, I don't really like here. And my guy, Odunze. I don't know why I say my guy, but I have been liking Rome Odunze this year. I just think I don't know. He's got less good games than I thought he did. It seems to me like he's been playing phenomenal, but he has had quite a few of bad games. But the Steelers are 32nd against the wide receiver, 32nd against the pass. This is Odunze's week. I'm telling you, he's gonna get at least 20 points. And I don't guarantee that because I can't guarantee that, but I could see this being a 20-plus point game for him. Easily, actually, but you never know. It's NFL DFS. I could be completely wrong. Things could not go that way. I did end up playing A.J. Brown the other day. I know I said that I wasn't going to. I did end up playing him, and he ended up getting 11.9 fantasy points in that game. So it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. However, the Cowboys are 31st against the wide receiver, 30th against the pass. We already know I liked his quarterback this week, so I think he'd be a great play. Although he only got 1.8 fantasy points against Dallas in week 1, so take that for what it is. I know they are trying to get him the ball more, it seems like, after he kind of complained about it. I don't know if it was a complaint. He just, he wants the ball. He's an elite receiver and he wants the ball. So sometimes I don't like hearing about players whining and stuff like that. I don't know that he was whining. It doesn't seem like they were giving him the ball much this year, but Devontae Smith is a great athlete too, is perfectly capable as well. So Jameson Williams, he's been playing really good football. This dude is like lightning. He is so fast. And it seems like more often than not, I regret not playing him if I don't play him in a showdown. I know this isn't a showdown unless you play this game as a showdown. But for the main slate, I don't know, man. I think he could be a good pick. Giants, like we said, are 25th against wide receiver, 22nd against the pass. He's averaging 12.4 a game. Give it a go. Devontae Smith, I'm not even going to look at it, but I like it. I like him there. Well, I will look at it because I want to see what he did in week 1. Week 1, he had no. I clicked the wrong player. That's what I got confused there. Week 1, he had 4.6 points against Dallas. So, guys, take that for what it is. You play him if you want. On paper, it looks fantastic. Wan'Dale Robinson playing the Lions, who are 20th against the wide receiver, 8th against the pass. I don't like that. Don't think I like Addison here. Metcalf, on paper, looks great. Bears are 26th against the wide receiver, 23rd against the pass. He has only averaged 12.5 fantasy points a game. I don't think I can trust him anymore. I've picked him a few times, I think, this year, and I just think I'm done with it. I don't love Parker Washington in this spot, but I don't hate it either, guys. I think he could possibly get points. I don't think it's going to be a lot. David Moore, why did I say David Moore? DJ Moore, I think could do good in this game. I prefer Odunze. Just trying to find the matchups here that I like. Yeah, I don't love this one. I will say I did play Wilson last week. Michael Wilson had 36.5 fantasy points. It was beautiful. Not enough to save my lineup, but when you got Jonathan Taylor putting up that many points and Bijan Robinson and all these players, it's tough. It's tough some weeks. Xavier Worthy, if he plays, potentially that could be a good matchup. I don't know if Jacoby Myers is familiar enough with the Jacksonville offense yet or what, but that's not a terrible matchup for him. Rashid Shaheed, depending on how much they're using him there in Seattle, that looks like a great matchup. 24th against the wide receiver, 18th against the pass. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm not going to say it's great, but Jerry Jeudy, I don't even know what to think here, guys. I guess it depends on how well Sanders can play and how well they fit together, but it's a good matchup on paper. I'm not going to say it's great, it's good, but I'm not playing him. Then you got a couple guys down here that are cheaper, like Calvin Austin III. They got good matchups. I don't think I'd play him. Cedric Tillman is the other one I was looking at. Just looking for some other guys down here that are cheaper. Thornton still got 7.1 fantasy points last week. 2 targets, 1 reception. Yeah, I don't know. It might be worth playing. Yeah, I'm gonna move on here. Gonna move on to tight ends. Let's go ahead and fill this lineup in though as we go. So as we said, we like Brissett. And then we like Henderson and Gibbs. So I'll throw both of those guys in there. And then as far as wide receivers go, I like Jackson Smith and Jigba a lot. Don't know that I want to pay up for him. I did like T. Higgins. And I like my guy Odunze. Where'd he go? I like him probably the best. I think. And that, man, if I throw in Jackson Smith and Jigba, now we're starting to, see the salary cap dwindle away. Amon-Ra look good. Jefferson, Rice. I think Higgins. I think I like Higgins here, but that's not going to leave enough fantasy points for me, or enough fantasy points. It's not going to leave enough salary to play who we want. Seattle at Tennessee. This is almost a have to play defense. It's not. You never know what defense is going to just absolutely be stellar, but if you did, if there was a way to tell, then it would be Seattle at Tennessee. Tennessee's 32nd in the league, worst in the league against the defense, and Seattle is averaging 9.8 fantasy points a game. That almost doesn't even seem fair. New England also a great matchup against Cincinnati. I expect those two teams to do well. Falcons, I think, could do well against New Orleans this week. Maybe Jacksonville at Arizona, perhaps. But I'm playing Arizona's quarterback, so I don't think I'm going to go that route. The Browns against Las Vegas. That is the cheapest option that I think is probably pretty stellar. Las Vegas, 30th against the defense. And the Browns are averaging 8 fantasy points a game, which isn't that bad. But if I'm not going cheap, I think I really like the Seahawks here. I don't see how you're going to get around that. But probably not going to play Jackson Smith and Jigba just to open things up salary-wise. I don't know if I want to take him out or Higgins. I feel like Higgins maybe should come out. I just feel like they're going to have to rely on him a lot. I might take Higgins out. Trey McBride here. Oh, my gosh. Back-to-back 30-point fantasy games. And Jacksonville's 31st against the tight end, 26th against the pass. I'm playing their quarterback. I'm definitely going to take out Higgins here, and I'm going to play McBride, I believe. Bowers, don't love the matchup. Don't really like the matchup for Warren or Ferguson. Kelsey, I think, could be great this week against the Colts, who are 29th against the tight end. I don't know. Kyle Pitts, I've played him a few times. I just don't trust him. Goddard potentially could do well here. I don't love it. I don't hate it. What did he do in week 1 against these guys? I don't think he played week 1. I think he was hurt. Let's check. No, he played. Got 11.4 fantasy points in week 1. Hunter Henry looking phenomenal in this spot. He's averaging 9.1 fantasy points a game. Cincinnati is worst in the league, 32nd against the tight end. Mark Andrews also looking good here. Jets are 23rd against the tight end. Okonowu, goodness, another good matchup. Seattle's 30th against the tight end, but I don't recommend playing him. Loveland, I think, could have a good game here. Pittsburgh's 26th against the tight end, worst in the league against the pass. I think Loveland could. I don't expect him to have a huge game, but on paper he could. It sure seems like. Assuming that Tucker Kraft is still hurt and that Luke Musgrave is the guy in Green Bay, he could have a good game. Vikings are 24th against the tight end. Noah Fant could have a fantastic game. New England's 28th against the tight end. I'm overlooking Freiermuth. I don't think I like those spots for the Pittsburgh tight ends, but there's also just so many of them. They got 3 solid tight ends. Gunnar Helm, I like the matchup on paper. Don't expect him to do a whole lot. Komet possibly could do something, but guys, I think it's pretty hard not to play Trey McBride, although I'd have to pay up for him, but I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pay up for him. And then I think I'm going to play another tight end down here. I don't normally ever play 2 tight ends, but I think I'm going to do it this week. I might play Hunter Henry here. And then I'm definitely going to have to not play Jackson Smith and Jigba if I'm going to go that route. But who do I play if that's the case? So there's a couple guys I have in mind. I think if I play Williams, that won't leave me enough. That would leave me enough. 3,200 for a receiver. But then who would I go with? And with 3,200 left. Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't look terrible. But I'll tell you what. I want to see. I think they were the first on here, and I overlooked them. The Jets wide receivers right now. Yeah, so they're kind of hurting. Garrett Wilson is still out. So Adonai Mitchell at 3,200 is set up in a spot where, and I almost looked at him and I didn't because I thought Garrett Wilson was back and he's not. I know they're playing Tyrod Taylor, but Baltimore is 27th against the wide receiver and 24th against the pass. So I think that would be a great spot. And there you have it, guys. That's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you watching. I wish you the best for your lineups this week. Let me know if you think this one could succeed or if you don't like it. I normally don't go double tight ends. I just don't like it, but I kind of do this week, and I definitely like the Seahawks defense, Seattle's defense here, and yeah, I kind of dig this lineup. Let me know what you think, guys. And again, I wish you the best. I hope you guys come in a winning bracket. And if any of you do and you want to get on and let us know about it, I would love to hear your success stories. And if you want to get on and tell us about your non-success stories and just vent a little bit, that's okay too. But I appreciate you being a part of the channel. I'll talk to you next time, guys. Thanks.